Ladies and gentlemen, listeners, watchers, my name is Brandon Lewis. I'm your executive producer, host, and founder of Brandon's World. Welcome to the fourth and final State of the Sport, where we have been taking a hard look at what is really going on in various sports over the summer with a subject matter expert. Today, friend of the show, Christian Hinton, will be dissecting the current state of the National Football League. The NFL is a sport that is now mostly about one position, quarterback. If you have one, you win a lot of games. If you do not, you lose a lot of games. It is that simple. Around the league, there's a lot of interesting storylines coming into the season. Can my Philadelphia Eagles repeat as Super Bowl champions? Can the Kansas City Chiefs become the first team in NFL history to make the Super Bowl in 6 out of the best 7 seasons and win 3 Super Bowls in a 4-year span? Or will a team like the Ravens or Bills finally break through in the AFC? Which rookies will break out and which new signal caller will give their fan base a reason to believe again, the way Jayden Daniels did for the Commanders last season? For every thought of hope, there is also a thought of failure. Which teams that have Super Bowl expectations will be disappointed by their fan bases, and what teams will have their seasons end by the middle of September? And now, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you the man who's going to help the audience of Brandon's World understand the state of the NFL. He is Christian Hinton.
Thank you so much for having me, Brandon. I am very excited to get started. Very excited. We have a lot to talk about.
We do. So we're going to do this, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit like the way we did the state of Major League Baseball with Sean Fitzgerald a couple weeks ago. So we're going to go through every single team today, all 32 teams in the National Football League. We're going to start with the AFC East. We're going to work our way for the AFC. Then we're going to work our way for the NFC. And this man, Christian Hinton, I have known for years, dating back to my time at Black Shore Radio. We've had him on the show before to talk football. You guys know how insightful he is, how detailed he is, how he thinks about the game. So I'm really excited to see his thoughts on this NFL season. Let's dive into our first team here in the AFC. They won the AFC East last year. They are led by Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills. And Christian, my question for you with Buffalo is, if they do not win the Super Bowl this year, if they cannot get past Kansas City, if they cannot finally break the curse, is it ever going to happen? Is there going to be a point where it's like we've come so close yet so far, and it's like they just come crashing down?
Uh, Brandon, I think they're more well equipped, like as now, and you could say even over the last couple of years too, but now especially than ever to win. Like it, that's the thing about how like the NFL works. You, yeah, obviously you've got those power teams like Kansas City, and you've got the Eagles and all those teams too, but at the end of the day, the Bills have Josh Allen. They've got a really good team, and like you said, you let it off saying the most important part of the team is the quarterback, right? And they at least have that figured out right now. Whether or not you want to say if they win the Super Bowl this year, it's Super Bowl or bust, or their window closes. I don't think that's the case. I think as long as they have Josh Allen, they'll definitely be in the conversation for a Super Bowl. But the problem is they have that history of, even when they do make it to the Super Bowl, they can't win. Obviously, there was that period in the 90s where they literally couldn't win. But I think, like I said, I mean, you could have made this argument the last couple of years too, but I think now they're more equipped to win than ever. I mean, they made a couple of interesting additions, I guess, this offseason. You could argue Joey Bosa was a pretty good signing. There's some others, I don't know, Ogunjobi, or I've got the list right in front of me. Like, there's nothing that like jumps out to me about the team that would make me go, "Oh yeah, these are the Super Bowl favorites." But as long as they have Josh Allen, they're definitely in contention for it, and that's like sort of the the thing that bothers me about the NFL, you can't really before the season even say, oh yeah, this team, if it's Super Bowl or bust, or Super Bowl or bust, if they don't win the Super Bowl, they had a failure of a season. Well, I don't know. With the NFL especially, I feel like that's so totally not true. And I just want to say that on the offset, like I'm not really sure if for any team it's Super Bowl or bust because you really literally never know what can happen just during the course of the season. But look, if the Bills don't have playoff success, I would say, and that could mean going out in the first round or not making it to the AFC Championship game or whatever the case may be, then yeah, I guess you could say, hey, it was a failure of a season. But I think we'll see what happens. I think we'll see what happens. I'm again, as long as you have Josh Allen, you're in Super Bowl contention. So we'll at least say that for the Bills. So again, there's nothing that jumps off the screen or the page for me for them that makes me go, oh yeah, they're definitely going to win the Super Bowl, or they need to win the Super Bowl this year, or else their window closes. I don't think that's the case, but yeah, as long as you have Josh Allen, you're going to be in contention, and as long as he's healthy.
As will be the case with many of our teams today. Some of my questions will be
Yeah,
based off predictions that I have. I'm going to see if you agree or disagree.
yeah, absolutely.
This is one of my takes this year. So for the audience, you guys know every August/September I come out with my big video/audio where we do my official predictions. So you're gonna get a little taste of some of my predictions today. One of them is I think this will be the last year of the Mike McDaniel tour regime in Miami.
Mm. I'd be interested in that. I'd be interested to see. Are you asking me if you think it will be the last season for Mike
Yeah,
McDaniel?
yeah, because I do. I'm not high on the
Yeah,
Dolphins at all. They've had a weird off season. Tyreek Hill's been in the news. We
yeah,
know they can't beat good teams. They still don't have a backup plan in case Tua goes down, which I'm
yeah,
sorry is inevitable. He is. And they're just I don't know. Mike McDaniel came in as like this wizard who like acted so smart and was in love with the media, and they put up 70 points on the Broncos, and it felt like that was the highlight of the Mike McDaniel era, and it's gone down ever since.
yeah. I actually 1000% agree with you. I'm not very high on the Dolphins at all. And hey, man, you said they don't have an option other than Tua. That's not true. They've got Zach Wilson, man. Come on, he's great, dude. Come on, no, like look. Um, the thing about Tua and the thing about, I mean, just what we've seen from Mike McDaniel as well is the team can't win really when it matters most, and they can't win when it's cold. They can't win. I mean, there's a lot of situations where they can't win. The dude Tua can't even play half the time because he's one concussion away from going catatonic. I obviously feel horrible for him, but look, that's a team that's probably doomed for the cellar this year. Yes, to answer your question, I do think it's the last year for Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel, um,
Like, is he just a better coordinator than a head coach?
yeah, I guess probably like he's like a good personality and everything else, but he always kind of just I don't want to say he rubs me the wrong way because he seems like a nice guy and like a guy that I would probably enjoy having a beer with. But also, he seems like he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, and that
Yeah,
could really wear on
I
fans and
I
media.
I also thought,
Like,
by the way, they had a weird draft. I didn't
yeah,
understand. I thought they had the worst draft of anybody. They took the grandkid, the defensive lineman out of Michigan, way too high at 13, and most mocks had him, late first round, early second round. Then they took a guard, I think, out of Alabama, who was like projected in the third round, and they traded up for a guard in the early second round.
yeah, I'm looking right now. I mean, they didn't get a great grade from NFL.com. It looks like they gave them it's not bad, a C. So like not horrible. But yeah, I mean, just in general, right? Like I think the NFL may be the hardest league to off season get marginally better.
Oh, I
Like
I actually disagree. I think you can get a lot better.
Well,
If you
I
have a
guess it
smart
depends.
GM, if you have a smart
Yeah,
GM
that's
and a
true.
smart coach.
That is true. That is true. But like, I also think part of that is there's I guess part of my argument for my case would be that there's so little, like obviously there's so many talented players, but there's also a lot that can fool you, right? Like obviously they signed Minka. Is he gonna be, or they
That
didn't
was
sign him, they
such a
got him in a
weird
trade.
trade.
I know, like,
I don't
is
get.
he gonna be like yeah, he's a good player, but is he gonna be the reason it sets their defense over the top? Probably not. Like so that's kind of what I mean. Like you can fool fans, or you can even fool yourself as a GM or a coach and go, look at this trade we just made for Minka Fitzpatrick. He's a great player. Well, yeah, but also like, how does that make your team that much better? So that's sort of what
And
I
this,
mean. Like,
yeah.
it's
Well,
harder. Go
let me
ahead.
throw this to you because
Yeah.
I think one of the teams that made the most improvements is another one of my predictions, and I'll ask you this. I think the New England Patriots actually replaced the Dolphins, and I think that they're a playoff team. I think that they made so many additions on the defense side of the ball through free agency. And I thought in the draft they absolutely crushed it. They got Anderson, the back out of Ohio State. They got Campbell,
Yeah, I'm
the
jealous about that.
the tackle out of LSU. They finally addressed offense. And Gerard Mayo was such a disaster last year, and Drake May looked promising. I think Josh McDaniels is a very good offensive coordinator. We see teams every year, like the Commanders last year, obviously won from 4 wins. They won the NFC Championship
Hmm.
game. I'm not saying that, but I think 9, 10 wins and like the Broncos from last year to me is New England this year.
I could see it. The thing, like, I think the biggest question mark there would be Drake May. Like, there's, I met somebody recently who's a really good or really big fan of the Patriots, and the biggest thing that they worry about as well is Drake May. And there's even like a faction that is like put Milton in and see what he can do,
Well, he's not
which
even
is
there anymore. He's a Cowboy.
that's right, that's right. When did that happen?
This offseason, right before the draft.
Oh my God, it did happen right before the draft. I should have put that in the notes. But with that being said, still last year there was a faction of them that said, "Hey, put him in and see what he can do," right? But
Well, because
you're
they had
right
no
though. They
offensive
did,
line, they had no
yeah,
weapons.
they
Milton
did
would give
make,
you more mobility.
yeah, they did make a lot of moves. Obviously, Diggs probably be the biggest one, but
See,
you
I
could make
think
a
it's on the
case.
defensive side. I think it's
Yeah,
Spillane. I think it's Davis. I think it's Milton Williams who came over from Philly. Like their defense was already good. I'll be honest with you.
well, yeah, that's a big deal too from Milton Williams.
Diggs doesn't change anything for me. I think Diggs isn't the same player. I think he's like a number two, number three receiver now, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they've got, I guess, to back up your point about offense, yeah, they got better on offense at the very least. To
Henderson,
be
I think, is
honest,
going to have a huge impact. Like I could see him in
I do
that
too.
James White role.
I'm so jealous about Henderson. I'm actually
I
really jealous about
Yeah,
him.
no, I agree. We'll get to it when we get to the
Yeah,
AFC
I know.
North. But I
I would have been,
But
yeah.
regardless of what's going on off the field, I thought they picked the wrong Ohio State running back. But we'll talk about it when we get there.
No, absolutely. But with that being said, if we want to talk about the Patriots for a bit, yeah, they've and the NFL even gave them an A. So in terms of NFL.com, gave them a draft grade of an A. So that's really good, obviously. And then yeah, like Will Campbell, like they're gonna be good. I don't like. I think playoff team. I think that's how do you say it? I think that remains to be seen. I'm interested to see. I guess like you said, maybe like the offense is still sort of maybe the biggest questionable part about it.
Okay,
Yeah, defense got a lot of marginal and decent improvements, but we'll see. We'll see
that's
about the
fair.
offense. I don't know. I wouldn't say playoff team just yet, but we'll see where the cards lie.
All right, let's talk about the team that last year finished in the cellar. But outside of the toe injury that happened to Justin Fields just now in training camp, but it sounds like he's going to be okay.
He's been
Is
resurrected.
Is there reason for optimism with a new GM, a new head coach in Aaron Glenn, a new quarterback in Justin Fields? We both bought Aaron Rodgers last year with the Jets. I know I predicted them to win the division. It didn't happen. But is there a sense of like this team could win 6 or 7 games? They're not complete garbage. Aaron Glenn's going to do a good job on the defense side of the ball. And like we can build something here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad we talked about the East first because the Jets to me maybe are it's like maybe because it's recency bias and I like Justin Fields, but the Jets are one of the most interesting teams I think in the NFL this year because yeah, I think 6 or 7 wins is even like I think maybe that's even a little low. I think they
Wow,
could
interesting. Okay.
not now I'm not saying like they're gonna get 10 or 11, but like I could see them winning 7, 8, 9
So you
games
see them
ish.
the way
Like
I see New England, basically.
yeah, but I wouldn't say like even then, like I wouldn't say necessarily a playoff team. Now, the reason is I like Justin Fields. What I don't like about the Jets are a lot of a lot of other things. Obviously, I think the organization is like the other than like the Browns or others of very slim others are is like the most dysfunctional in the league. So that's always a problem. And I like Justin Fields a lot. I was actually like, obviously
You've been a
he
big
wanted to
Fields
go.
guy. You
Yeah,
you you've been more of a Fields guy than most people I know.
he wanted to go and leave Pittsburgh, which I get. I'm surprised, like, and I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but I'm surprised there wasn't maybe a bigger push in Pittsburgh to keep him. And I know they wanted to, but like, there's a difference between wanting to keep somebody and then like pushing for and like actually doing the most to get them back. I thought he did pretty well for the Steelers, and I was shocked. No, maybe not shocked. I was surprised that they were so willing to make the move to Russell Wilson as quickly as they did last year.
My
Now, with
guess is
all of
they
that,
promised him the starting job.
yeah, which they did. I mean, they were, yeah, which they did. And it's not like they were paying him a butt ton of money, but still, it was like, I'm sure they did. So, and I think Justin Fields always knew that. Like, no matter what was their record when he sat down,
Four
weren't
and
they like
two.
4-2? Yeah, okay. So like, not bad. I think if he and I have a close friend who's a Steelers fan who says if he stayed in, they would have won more games. So, well, you never know. The Jets are interesting to me. I think higher. I'm higher on the on like we mentioned, well, this is how you think about the Patriots. I think I'm still a little higher on the Patriots than I'm on the Jets because it's
Okay.
the Jets. It's the Jets.
So we pretty much
But
both agree that Miami's in the cellar.
yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And so with all that being said, I'll wrap it up by saying this. The biggest reason I like the Jets is because of Fields. I think Fields is the most stable they've been at. Like a lot of people think this is Fields' last year in the league. I don't. I think he becomes at least
Well, I think
the quarterback
mobility
for the Jets the
wise,
next few years.
well, I don't
Yeah.
know if it's his last year in the league. I think mobility wise is a thing. Like he'd be a backup. If he doesn't work though, it'd
Well,
be his
that's
last year as a
that's what I mean.
starter.
Last year in the league as a starter. Like
Okay.
I think that's the sentiment among a lot of people is that well, this is his last chance and it's gonna
You,
not go
you,
well.
you know what's
Yeah.
eerie about that?
Yeah.
Aaron Glenn came from Detroit. Do you remember when Jared Goff got to Detroit? That's the same thing they said about Jared Goff.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so I think Glenn is going to try to build a model somewhat around the way the Lions did it 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And we'll see. Let's move to the AFC West. Obviously, we have to talk about the team that lost 40-6 of the Super Bowl, not 40-22, because the game was over, and my Philadelphia Eagles let them score 16 points at the end of the game to make it somewhat respectable, I guess you could say, as the cat has entered the picture.
The cat
Do,
has entered the chat. He's got some things to say. He's got some things
do
to say.
so. It's a simple question for the Chiefs. Are they going to make the
Yeah.
Super Bowl for the fifth time in 6 years?
Huh. I mean, you kind of have to say yes and just be like, you know, it's got to be assumed at this point, almost for them. Last year, I pretty much I think said the same thing. It's like, why would you bet against them at this point to make the Super Bowl and to be that perennial team that's just always going to at least be in the AFC Championship? I think the now it's super early, obviously, and I hate even making a prediction like this, but I think the only other team that would be like close to bringing them down is either a team we'll talk about here soon in the Ravens or the Bills. But they probably will be making the Super Bowl again this year. Let's just put a pin in it and say yes until further notice. But just like any other team, just like any other season, we'll have to see what happens during the regular season because injuries or whatnot happen and it can derail everything. So we'll see. The answer now is yes, and for good reason. Obviously, like we don't need to go into why.
The,
It's just
the,
Patrick Mahomes. That's why.
yeah. The
Or
division
Andy Reid.
though
That's why.
is a lot better. And I got to tell you, this next team, it's unfortunate they're in the division with the Chiefs because they probably win mostly every other division in football, besides maybe the AFC North. I love the Chargers. Like,
Hmm.
I'm a big Jim Harbaugh guy. I'm kind of indifferent about Justin Herbert. I don't think he's a top
Yep.
five quarterback the way most people do, but I also don't think his record has indicated how good he's played. I think that they are such a Jim Harbaugh team. They're physical. I love the addition of Omarion Hampton, the running back of North Carolina. I think he's going to
Hmm.
be a big impact for them. Year two teams under Harbaugh, we've seen it in San Francisco, we've seen it at Sanford, even at Michigan, they got better year two. Generally, that's when the team starts to peak. I mean, is there a chance Kansas City doesn't win all their, one score games and they win maybe 10 games and the Chargers could win 11 and win the AFC West?
It's yes, it's a definite chance, but I think the biggest factor, and this is going to, like you said, it's going to be the factor for a lot of teams, is uh, the quarterback. Can Justin Herbert perform well? Can he perform above his means? Can Jim Harbaugh get him to the next level? Because I think we've all been waiting for the last couple of years on Justin Herbert to make that jump and get to the next level, um, elevate his game. And I think we were expecting that maybe a little more last year. But obviously, like you said, Jim Harbaugh back for the second season, correct? Am I correct in
Yes.
that? You said so. Yeah, so he's in his second season, and like you said, we've seen what happens in his second seasons for teams before. Um, it all comes down to Justin Herbert, and can the Chargers not be the Chargers and actually win big games in the regular season against their divisional opponents? And can they win in playoffs, which is obviously remains to be seen. Tim Tebow has more playoff wins than Justin Herbert right now, and I know that doesn't really sit well in the
But
stomachs of
you're
a lot of
but you're
Chargers
not
fans.
kidding. Speaking of Tebow, the team he won that playoff game for, the Denver Broncos. So
Hmm.
last year they won 10 games. They were the last seed. Obviously, they had to beat the Chiefs backups to get into the playoffs, but they did get in. I thought they were going to be an 8-win team. I thought Bo Nix was going to be good. I didn't think he had that good of a year that he had. I do like their draft. I thought John Byram was a great pick. And I know what Sean Payne does, and they're really building it up. But I don't know. It does feel like they're like the third best team at best in that division, and it does feel like a regression a little bit could be coming to maybe what I kind of thought they were going to be last year. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens with Bo next. Like, will he have a slump in his? Will he have a slump this year? I'm not. It's hard to say. Like, that's okay, Tiger. Sorry,
He
my
just
cat is
pawed you
not
right in
happy.
the face.
Yeah, he's not happy with me. Nah. I think um, I think that's a team that could still probably hover around 10 wins, but I just don't think they eclipse 10 wins. Like, and it's almost like I don't know what the answer is. to help get them over the top. Like I guess just having and by over the top, I mean of that 10 win thing. I guess maybe having Bo Nix get better and better. But I have a feeling he may have a little slide this year for no other reason other than it's just his second year, and that happens oftentimes with quarterbacks, and I can just see it with him. But at the same time, if it doesn't happen and he doesn't have a huge slump and they are still winning games and winning divisional games, which is the most important part, especially in this division, like I could see them still hovering around that mark. Uh, and even being in a situation, I think the AFC is going to be better than a lot of people think this year. It could even be a situation where they win 9 or 10 games and still just barely miss the playoffs or just barely squeak into the playoffs.
Okay.
So we'll
Well,
have to see.
I'll tell you, they're the team in the basement of this division. I actually think could be one of the surprise teams of the week this year.
Okay.
I kind of like what the Raiders have done. I
Yeah.
think it's a complete 180 reset. Now, am I in love with Geno Smith? No. But is he 100% upgradable from what they had? Yes. Do I think Ashton Genty is going to be a really good player? Yeah, I do. And I think Pete Carroll's going to come in with that energy. And Pete almost never has bad seasons. And they bring in Chip Kelly from Ohio State, who I think has learned a lot since his last time in the NFL. He's changed his style. And I do think now the NFL is more married to college than ever.
Hmm.
Like, is I am flirting with the idea right now. This may sound crazy of putting Vegas over Denver and still
Oh,
having
wow.
three teams in the AFC West make the playoffs and have Vegas be a playoff team.
Wow. I mean, that would be amazing. It would again, this is like this goes back to what I just said. Like the
Think,
AFC, I think will be
think
better
about
than
the
people think
coaches
this
in this
year.
division, right?
Yeah.
Andy Reid, Jim
Yeah.
Harbaugh, Sean Payton, and Pete Carroll.
Yeah. That's it's
And
insane. It
and
really
and by the
is. It
way,
really is.
Vegas may not have a ton of talent. They obviously have Max Crosby on the defensive line. That's like what we all know.
Yeah.
That defense will be better just by having Pete Carroll in the building.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. It will. Absolutely. It will. And
And listen,
they,
I liked Antonio Pierce, but he was a rah-rah guy. He was never really a head
yeah.
coach.
Yeah.
Like I,
Player guy.
like, could they be Seattle from a couple years ago? That team with Geno that made the playoffs, and then obviously they went to San Francisco. They lost that game, but like
Yeah.
they're built very similarly.
Yeah, they absolutely are, and it's funny you bring them up because it is almost like they moved that team down south a bit from yeah
Seattle to Vegas,
from
yeah.
Seattle. Thank you. Yeah, from Seattle to Vegas. Um, Gino, like I go back to this again. Gino's going to be the biggest piece in their defense. Their defense was okay, decent last year, from what I remember. So I guess it all does kind of lie on Gino, and I'm really excited about Ashton. I'm excited to see what he can do, but I'm also very metered when it comes to I meter my expectations when it comes to highly picked running backs.
Well, here's why I think this is different.
Yeah,
Both Pete and Chip are run the ball guys.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Which I love, especially for like I guess not especially for this division. This division is so like it's such a pro style offense. It seems like, and like obviously you want to say West Coast style. A lot of them are, and a lot of them are pretty pass heavy. But that's why this team. It's going to be interesting. I still think they probably finish last in the division, but it could be a situation where they finish last in the division and have 8 wins. Like
Yeah. Well,
which would not
there's no
shock
way
me
they
at
get
all.
four. Like I think 7 to 10. I know it's a wide range,
Yeah,
but
yeah. Well, it is, but I think that's exactly where this team is. I don't know if 10. Like it just remains to be seen for me. Like it remains to be seen. I could definitely see 7 to 9 wins, and I still think they finish last. But last place with 7 to 9 wins for next year is a great place to be for that team. Like it's a great place to be.
we got to move on to the AFC North, and I'm going to repeat the same question about the Ravens that I asked you about Buffalo.
Yep.
Is this finally the year they break through? And then if not, they're arguing a harder division than Buffalo. You have Burrow in the division. We know the Steelers are going 9-8 probably, and then who knows what's going to go on with the Browns. So,
Yeah.
Baltimore's weird. They've had the Mark Andrews drama. It sounded like he could have got traded. He didn't get traded. Maybe Isaiah Likely is their number one tight end now. You know, I,
Yep.
I don't know. It's like they're a very good team, but they also some weird regular season games that they should not lose to.
Yeah, and some of those are generally once a year against the Browns too. They just lose
Well,
by
remember
three scores
last year
against the
they
Browns
lost
for
to
some reason.
Vegas week two?
Yeah, yeah, I do remember that, and I was like, oh, maybe the Ravens won't be that good. Well, boy, was I wrong. Um, yeah, this will like if it's going to be any year, I think it would be this year for the Ravens to break through, even more so than the Bills, just because I you could make the argument, which I don't think it is anymore, but you could still make the argument that the AFC North is one of the toughest and is the toughest and whatever you want to say. But it all boils down, and I'm going to say this for every team, Brandon, it all boils down to the quarterback. And who do they have? They've got Lamar Jackson, who is probably a top three quarterback in the NFL. Like, it's hard not to say that he's at least top five, right? So,
I think the debate is
I
three
mean,
and four
it's
between him and ironically the team we'll talk about here soon and Burrow in
yeah,
Cincinnati.
yeah, absolutely. So, which I would say he's better than Joe Burrow, but then again, we can have that argument. But no, I do think I like the Ravens are going to win the division this year, 1000%. How many games they win? They could win 13 games, they could win 15 games, dude. And I know that's a lot. It's not really, but it is kind of a big difference. I think they could be that good to where they go 15-2 this year. But
Okay,
I suppose we'll
we
see.
do disagree a little bit because I think there's a little bit of a regression. Now, do I think they could win 13? Yeah. But do I
Yeah,
also think they could win 10? Yeah.
I could see that too.
Because
I could see that, but I think it's more likely that they, especially because I do think they'll win the division. I think
well,
they'll win it
for
handily this year.
for me, it all depends on Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Bengals for
Mm-hmm.
some reason, and the ownership and the Shamar Stewart situation, which they finally got resolved, it all drives me nuts. But I can't get out of my head. They literally put up 40 points a game five times last year and lost all five games.
Yeah,
And they still won nine games. I
yeah.
don't think that's like, I think just by default, their defense is going to be better. And so to
You hope so.
me,
Yeah,
like there's no way it can get worse. If it gets worse, I will utterly be shocked. Like if everybody stays healthy, I think the Bengals are 11-12 win team. I really do.
yeah,
I just you know I think their roster's just so good, and they just find a way to lose games. And I just like I thought they were. If they made the playoffs last year, I thought they were the scariest seven seed potentially in the NFL in a long time. Like
yeah,
I thought they could have went into Buffalo and beat them.
yeah,
How good that they were playing at that time, and they're wasting Joe Burrow's time. They did make a Super Bowl a couple years ago, and again, there's something about if you tell me I get Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins on the same team, I think it's really hard to beat them unless you put up 40.
yeah. I agree. I agree with that, which just so happened a couple times last year, right? Five times. I think the Bengals are very interesting, and I know this is like a very maybe a homer way to talk because I'm from Cleveland and I'm a fan of the Browns, but um, I want to see what happens against the Browns this year for the Bengals.
Week
If they,
one is in Cleveland,
yeah,
and we know how much of a slow start they get off to. And
yep,
I think it will be very telling because they play the
yep,
Browns week one and they play the Jags week two. If
Yep.
they start
Yep.
2-0, which by the way I think is a real possibility, then I
Yeah.
think that they're in for a good year. If they lose the first game, if they beat Jacksonville or vice versa, I think they'll still be in for a good year. But
I do too.
if they start 0
Good.
2 again, the wheels are gonna fall off this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the exact thing, right? Like, and again, I'm not trying to be a homer, but that first game is going to be super telling. And then when they play them again, and really any divisional game that the Bengals
When they
play,
play them again, it may not matter because it's week 18.
right? That's true. That's true. Which it really won't matter. So let's just say any other divisional game, like it's. I want to see how the Bengals are kind of like obviously they had more success than the last 5 years than the Chargers have, but they remind me coming into this year a lot of the Chargers in terms of like we know they have the talent, we know they can put up points, but can they get out of their own way? Can the Bengals get out of their own goddamn way and win some of those games that they should have won last year? And then win in the playoffs. Like you said, if they snuck in, they would have been the most dangerous team probably, especially at that low of a seed or high of a seed, however you want to say it. So yeah, I think they will be in contention to winning the division. I still think it'll be by a couple of games, the Ravens.
Okay.
But the Bengals are at least a playoff team that gets 10 or more wins this year. I believe that.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you a funny question about the Steelers.
Yeah. Okay.
Do they go 9-8 or do they go 8-9?
Um. Oh, I know. Okay. I'm gonna say for the first year in a while. I think they win like 7 or 8 games, and so obviously not the
So
first year
Mike
in a while.
Tomlin
But
has his
I
first
don't think.
losing season.
Yes, yes, I think Mike Tomlin is his first losing season, and obviously, what is that ever? So
And
and now
it will be on the back of a guy who was smoking ayahuasca and
who knows what else, dude? I think the Aaron Rodgers thing is a complete and utter disaster. I don't think he's going to be very good at all. Now you've got Steelers beat reporters who are tweeting videos of him throwing interceptions and saying, "Oh, he did that intentionally, like Big Ben used to do." And it made me want
I have
to.
not seen that. That's funny.
Oh my God, I'll send it to you. It made me want to burn down Twitter headquarters. I'm like, why is this an app? Why are we giving these guys any sort of like, come on, just that is just it's stuff like that uh, really sort of grinds my gears sometimes. And we'll get into something with the Browns that's been grinding my gears with their beat reporters recently. Um, I think they probably still win 7 games or 8 games. I just don't think that was a good signing from for them at all. I don't think he'll even finish the year. I think Will Howard will probably be playing for them by week 8, if not
Oh
sooner.
wow.
Like I
Okay.
don't, dude. I don't think and it partially. I don't think Aaron Rodgers will even finish the year because I think he's going to get injured. I don't think he focuses on health at all. I don't think he focuses on his body at all. I think he is a worn down,
By the way,
has been.
that week 8 game real quick is the Green Bay game on Sunday night in Pittsburgh.
Oh my gosh. Well, I don't. Let's just say I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to finish it.
Okay.
Um, or probably I guess Mason Rudolph. I think Rodgers will even finish the year. I'm not. I don't think they'll. Um, I'm just saying, like it's a fact that I don't think he does a good job of taking care of himself.
Yeah.
And it's. I think he's too old. I think he's washed. I think he's a has been. I don't. I did not understand that signing. I didn't understand why any team would spend any money on him at this point in his career. But we'll see what happens. Maybe the Steelers surprise us all. Maybe he surprises me and finishes the year. I'm just not very high on that on that whole situation. And I'm a bit bitter because I think they should have kept Justin Fields. I think they gypped Justin Fields, and I'm not very happy about that. Or a has been. Like I don't get that move at all. It's a very like Browns move to me. I was actually surprised the Browns didn't sign him.
Well, speaking of which, we've waited long enough.
Yeah,
Um, okay, it's your team. We know the deal. We know the four quarterbacks. Uh, Let me just say this.
yep,
Going into the draft, I thought they were going to take Shador Sanders at number two overall, leading up
yeah,
to the draft. Then the reports came out, and I thought, okay, they're going to take Travis Hunter, and then they're going to try to trade up and get Shador Sanders.
yep,
When they traded out of that number two pick, I had no idea what they were doing. I like Mason Graham as a player. I don't think he was worth the number five overall pick in the draft for that Browns team specifically. I thought it would have been a good
right,
pick for Jacksonville, not the Browns, who need some excitement for this fan base because you've alienated the fan base the best 3 years with the worst contract in the history of the NFL.
yeah,
I'm sorry, Joe Flacco's not winning you any games. Here's and Browns fans have gotten mad at me. I never thought he was that good in Cleveland. Yes, he made the playoffs. He still threw a lot of interceptions, and the defense was really good that year.
yeah,
And by the way, he did get blown out in that last playoff game in Houston. And by
yeah.
the way, he was not very good last year in Indianapolis. Kenny Pickett's a backup, and I don't care what anybody says. You may disagree with me. I don't think Dylan Gabriel is an NFL quarterback. So, with that being said, you may disagree with me. I think the only way to get excited about this Brown season, throw Shador out there week one. Throw him to the Wolves. Let him start. Your jobs are on the line anyway. Why not give yourself, if Shador struggles, the coaching staff can say, well, he's a rookie, give us time. Yada, yada, because it was
Right.
Haslam's pick, right? I mean, well, what is Joe Flacco going to give you that Shador can't? Absolutely nothing. Like, there is nothing for this fan base to get excited for until that guy walks out on the field. I hate to be that guy.
Yeah.
Tell me if you disagree because you're a fan, and tell me if I'm being too harsh.
I do think you're being too harsh. I disagree. The You want to know what would kill excitement even more than throwing out Joe Flacco or throwing out Kenny Pickett is going 0-6 to start the season,
Well,
and
that's what I think's
you're
going to happen with Flacco. I'll be totally. I
well,
think you got a better chance to win games with Shador. I mean, look
yeah,
at that schedule, right? Cincinnati, to
yeah,
me, ironically, is your most winnable game.
yeah. I think it's but the thing about it is I think it would be completely unfair to throw Shador out there because
Well,
you want to
to
stunt his
me,
growth. That's a great way to do it.
it's
And if he
because the
doesn't start
coaching
off
staff
well,
is not giving him
yeah,
any chances. Like they're giving him the 14 reps. That's
yeah,
why they're not giving
yeah,
him a chance. To me,
yeah,
if he gets most of the reps in training camp, I said the Browns are the most interesting. I think preseason's complete garbage. But you want to get me to watch a preseason game? Have four quarterbacks go out there and compete for a job,
yeah. Seriously, seriously.
right?
Yeah, they're not giving him any first team. He took, I believe, there was conflicting reports on this week.
Everything I saw, he took all the 14 reps. I don't think he's been
Yeah,
past that.
yeah, which I saw that, and then I saw that he took like 10 first team reps the other day. Like, I don't know. This is the thing, okay? And I'm just gonna go into coverage real quick, and then we can get into the schedule and why I don't think it's a good idea for or one of the rookies to start. Um, I am so utterly, totally against beat reporters and ESPN Cleveland. I'll call them out directly, and some of these others posting training camp stats like it matters, and fans then actually like analyzing it and taking it as Bible as to who was better that week. Today, ESPN Cleveland, just or maybe it was yesterday, just tweeted out the week stats for training camp for all four quarterbacks. Um, what the hell is that? What
See,
are we
I actually
doing?
disagree with you.
No,
I
no,
think
no. Hold on a
training camp
second.
stats
Hold on a
actually
second.
matter. Go on.
No, 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 no. Because it could be any situation. It could be specifically seven straight times we're doing third down and three, and we're running this play. So like, or we're
But
running this
completing
scheme,
passes
or
matter. That's what I like.
uh,
Yeah, they like if
it,
you're not in 8 out of 10 in that situation, yeah, the offense is going to struggle. If your offense is struggling all camp, it usually carries over. Same thing with the
which
defense. This stuff does matter. Like
which
I
is
do.
fair. That's fair, but give us the entire, then tell us, break it down drill by drill. Tell us what they were doing. And you know what? They won't do that because the beat reporters that they hire are dense and don't know what the hell they're doing and don't even know what the formation is, don't even know what the scheme is, don't even care to ask, hey, is this a third down situation? Or is this a this? Or this? Or is this red zone? Or this? Or that? They don't ask. They put it all out there as Bible and they expect everybody to take it as Bible, and they don't say, "Hey, by the way, Shador only took fourth team reps, which is why his stats are so much better than everyone else's," or whatever the case is. So I just got to get that out of the way. And
No,
you may disagree with me.
that I agree with you is fair, the context around it. But I think
Yes.
overall, if you look, I think at the this is what I'll say. I don't know if day by day they necessarily matter, but I think the
Yeah,
end stats matter.
that's
Like,
fair.
like,
Yeah,
like if you take all of July and all, if you combine training camp and preseason, I do think the way teams play, at least the starters with the first unit, I think that carries over.
yeah, yeah. I could see that, but going into the rest of this like season. Like I see the argument for building excitement and just throwing Shador out there anyway because they're going to start 0-6 anyway. Like I get it. But with all that being said, I still think, and also I don't want to spend too much time on the Browns, but there is something else with the coaching staff that I want to get into that I disagree with something that you said. I don't think the coaches' jobs, maybe some are, but I don't think the coaches' jobs are actually on the line at all. I don't think Andrew Barry's job is on the line at all. I
So,
think,
so you
I
don't.
think,
So if they win 3 games again, everybody's safe.
yeah, I do. I think everyone's safe. I think for the most part, maybe Barry's gone. I don't know, but like, unless Mason Graham is a total bust and none of the rookie quarterbacks do anything this year, which I could see that being the case. If that's the case, I could see Barry being gone. But I actually think, and unless our defense is complete crap, I think most of the coaching staff is safe. I think especially Kevin Stefanski is safe because, quite frankly, the whole Deshaun thing, I think Haslam needs to give. Now, people may disagree with me, or the fans may want Kevin Stefanski gone, or they may want Nick Saban, or whatever the hell is that rumor. But I don't think Kevin Stefanski was put in a fair situation whatsoever. And I think despite everything that happened, especially 2 years ago, despite everything that happened with Deshaun and the injuries and the team and this and that and everything else, he still can produce a winning season. And I think he's been the most stable presence in an otherwise quite unstable Browns organization the last however many years he's been here. Let's call it 5 years, 6 years. I think this is this.
2020. So 2020, 2021,
Yeah, so this will be his
2022.
sixth
This will be
year.
year 6.
Yeah, so and three of those years were, well, let's I guess say 2.5 were he was given a quarterback he probably didn't want. He probably wanted Baker to stay. Like, so there's a ton of stuff with Kevin that I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on. I think he's a good coach. But others like Andrew Berry, I suppose, could be expendable. It depends on the situation and what happens. Like if we win 3 games, but we're in a decent amount of games, and Kevin Stefanski still keeps things like there's nothing that blows up too much, then yeah, I could see Kevin staying. But if a big reason we lose is because draft picks underperform and draft picks from years past are still underperforming and not doing well, or whatever the case, like then yeah, I could definitely see multiple other people getting fired. But we'll just have to see what happens. It all depends. I think for the most part, Stefanski is safe though. And then let me get into this. I think Flacco should start. I think it makes the most sense for him to start. Now, there's been reports that they're grooming Gabriel and grooming Pickett to start, and then grooming Gabriel to be the successor or whatever the heck the case will be. I don't necessarily agree with you that Dylan Gabriel isn't an NFL quarterback. We haven't seen him, so we just don't know. They drafted him in the third round. I trust NFL scouts and folks who draft that high. I mean, third round is this should be, you would think, now it's a quarterback, so it's different, but this should be a player that is a big part of your team, right? It should be a player that at least can have the talent to be. So if they think Dylan Gabriel is something, and he could turn out to be something, I don't know. Do I think he's a higher prospect than Shador? No. Like I don't understand that whole process. I don't understand what went down in the draft for all of that to happen. Um, so we'll just
Which is again why I think the Browns are. I hate to say it because they may be the worst team in football, but they may be the most fascinating team in football.
yeah,
Which is why
absolutely,
we
absolutely.
disagree so much because it's one side or the other. Either you're right or I'm going to be right. There's really no in between, right?
No, I that's the exact thing about it. Like 2 years ago, this was an 11 win team. Like, and I think a lot of people forget that. And there's not really
Most of the
many
roster is still there besides
differences.
Amari Cooper, right?
Yeah, there's
And
not really
Chubb.
many differences. Like you have a few less skilled players, like you just said, Chubb and Amari are gone, and there's some other folks that are gone as well that were
Well, the biggest
good.
change though, honestly, was Bill
Yeah,
Callahan leaving.
yeah, I know, and that's a lot of people undersold that
Under
as
completely agree.
yeah,
Last year, I went into the year saying that was the one of the biggest losses of the whole offseason, and no one
yeah,
talked about it.
yeah, absolutely it was. So yeah, so when it comes to that, I think it would be smartest because I don't want to ruin Dylan Gabriel or Shador's confidence. Like I don't want to throw one of them out there. Now, there you could make a case that if an injury happens or if Joe Flacco is completely abysmal the first 2 or 3 weeks, you could certainly make a case that okay, week 4, week 5, Lions, Vikings, maybe we make the case to throw Dylan Gabriel out there, maybe we make the case to throw Shador out there. But I don't want it to be week 1, and I don't want it to be, especially for that first 6 game gauntlet. I don't want to ruin any of these quarterbacks' confidence. Now, with all of this being said, they're going to have 2 top 10 picks next year, regardless of what happens. The Jaguars are going to be bad. The Browns are going to be bad. They're going to have 2 top 10 picks. So, do you like in your thinking if they still have Andrew Berry after this year, which let's just assume they do because we can't guess who they would draft or the cadence for drafting for anybody else. Let's say they still have Andrew Berry. You're gonna guess that they trade one of those top 10 picks. So let's assume that they have pick 2 and pick 8, for example. They're gonna trade one of those picks. Let's say they trade pick 2, whatever. Can they still get Arch Manning? Can they still get one of these top quarterbacks within the top 10? If they think they can, now I know that they don't know who they're going to have until obviously way late in the season or not an idea of where they'll be drafting. But if the plan is to have a pick in the top 10 to draft an Arch Manning, for example, then yeah, okay, then just throw out one of these quarterbacks because who cares what happens to their confidence at the end of the day if they're not going to be the answer that we even are looking for in the grand scheme of things. Then yeah, throw them out there, let them lose 6 games in a row. Fuck, play quarterback by committee, and this isn't obviously going to happen. But play Gabriel one game, Shador by the next game. Like if that's really what their plan is to just tank and they don't care what happens with this season, then okay, then do what you want. But I don't think for their detriment or for their positives, like I don't think uh, they think that they're going to be a bad team. Like, truly, I don't think that they think that. I think that they look at 2 years ago and think we basically have the same roster. We've got the same offense. We've got the same scheme defensively. Why can't we do the same stuff? And assuming people stay healthy, that was a big part of last year, too. If you remember, three out of the five guys on the offensive line hurt for most of the year last year.
Early in the year, by like week
Yeah.
4.
Well, it was a lingering problem for most of the year, where
Yeah,
offensive injuries, just in general. We had fifth, sixth string corners up last year playing
yeah.
some games, So um, I think it just depends, right? I think they can still win. I think they believe that in their heart of hearts. And if that's the case, I think they're going to throw out one of the veterans. It'll probably be Joe Flacco, and then we'll just see what happens. I think one or
That's
two or both of the
that's
rookies will
fair.
play this year, but we'll see when.
Okay,
They're not going to be a good
we
team.
spent a lot of time in the
Yeah, I'm
AFC
sorry
North,
about that.
so
Get
I'm
out
gonna
of the way.
ask you about the AFC South in a
Yep,
nutshell.
that's
Um,
fine.
so I like Houston's roster. They have the best quarterback in the division. I think they're probably gonna win the division. I don't know what the Colts are. We'll see new ownership, and I like
Yeah,
Shane Steichen. I like Bauer, the GM. I was excuse me.
bless you.
I was higher on Anthony Richardson than most coming out, but now he can't complete a pass 5 yards down the field. Um, Jacksonville, I have no idea what the hell they are either. We'll see if William Cohen can pick Trevor Lawrence. And like, listen, is there a world where Cam Ward and the Tennessee Titans just have a really good rookie year and they're a Denver-esque team and in a weak division, they shock everybody and win the division? I'm not throwing that out of the realm of possibilities either.
Yeah, this is a funny division because like the winner of the division could could just obviously the Texans are a good team and like I like CJ Stroud and I like what they got going on there. But it could be a division where the winner is a 9 game winner, you know what I mean, or a 10 game winner, and they're like not
Both
that great of a
South
team,
divisions
but
feel that way, right?
yeah, absolutely they do. Absolutely they do. It could be a situation where Cam Ward surprises everybody, and catapults the Titans. Probably not. I don't know if you saw the interview with I think it was the Titans GM and the head coach.
Yeah,
I don't
and someone
remember.
has this
Was it
as a Super Bowl team, and
the
like
just silence?
I could see if they're like, do you feel like this team has a chance to compete for the division? No,
Yeah,
I mean, what if I'm the GM? I would honestly, I think my response would have been, yeah, what are we trying to do? Not win the Super Bowl? Like,
right,
yeah,
right,
again,
exactly. Like
it goes back to a problem
the way they answered it was funny, and I'm sure the fans of that team are not very happy about it. But they're at least on the upswing, right? Like you said, the Colts. What the hell even are the Colts? Like
And
Daniel
again, the funny thing
Jones, I
about the
think.
Colts is like I like their roster, I like their coach, I like their GM.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
and I want to somewhat like the quarterback, but I think they like Daniel Jones more. So now I'm out on the quarterback.
yeah. Richardson. I that's another like quarterback by committee thing. Like who the hell knows what they're going to do
Here's
there?
the thing:
So
he could throw a 70-yard ball on a rope like Josh
yeah,
Allen, but then he can't complete a ball right in front of his face. I've
I know.
never seen a quarterback like Anthony Richardson.
Well, you know why, and I don't want to get too much into this, but you and I had a conversation about the Brown. It was probably the season before last year as well. And I said I was talking about Deshaun Watson, and I was talking about how he's mentally weak and how there's a virus going around the NFL of mentally weak quarterbacks. And Anthony Richardson is just mentally weak. Like he
Yeah,
could be one of the most special, like athletic players in NFL history, and also never see the field again. You
that's
know what I
fair.
mean?
No,
Like
that's fair.
it's crazy how especially in the NFL, and you see this with the NBA sometimes, but especially in the NFL, like how that could even happen. Like, so we'll see what happens. The Colts are a what the hell team. The Jaguars are a what the hell team. I don't, like what did the Jaguars do? I'm looking now. What did they do?
to
They
get
do. I will say
substantially better.
they do
Other
have
than,
Brian Thomas. They do have ETN. They do have Travis Hunter.
Well, sure. And
You
but I
know,
gotta tell you this. I have a now I would probably be saying this if he was on the Browns. I have a bad feeling about Travis Hunter, dude. I have a bad feeling
on
about him.
both sides of the ball, that like it's not going to work at all.
Yeah, well, I don't even know. I think yes, that I think eventually he's gonna have to pick a side. Um, it's not gonna be this year, but I think eventually he will have to. But I just like I think more offensively. I I don't know how his game will translate to the NFL,
No,
dude. I just don't know. I
and
just
I
don't
didn't
know.
either. So I agree with you.
Yeah,
All right,
we'll see what happens.
let's get to the NFC. We're starting
Yes,
with the
sir.
reigning, defending, undisputed Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Listen, I got to ask you. Besides the Chiefs and the Patriots, obviously no one has repeated. And I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to predict my Eagles to repeat because I don't think it's going to happen. But I will say, team's still really good.
Team is great. I think I could tell you they'll probably at least repeat. See, that's the thing about it. Will they win the division with
Because no one's
those
repeated the
those?
NFC East since 2004, which was
that's,
Philly, ironically.
yeah, which is so funny. Like, there's that. Hold on, I gotta get my cat. There's that, and then there's also those scary, pesky. All of a sudden, one of the best teams in the NFC, Washington Commanders, that you guys now have to deal with.
Yeah,
Um,
and some people think the Commanders are going to be better. Some people think there's going to be a little bit of a regression. I'm sort of the former, where I think they are going to be better. I think
yeah, I do too.
week 16 is our first game we play against them, and we can sort of lump Philly and Washington in together if you want, because I think it comes down to that week 16 game right before Christmas in DC that'll decide the winner of the division.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Sorry, I'm texting my dad back. Uh, Sorry, I normally just keep my phone down, but my dad
All
has
right,
been
bud.
texting me the last 2 hours. Um, I think the Commanders will be better. And also, like, I don't know, like, we don't have to move on to the Commanders yet, but I love their new uniforms. Anyway, I think the Commanders will be better. But just going back really quick to the Philadelphia Eagles, in addition to the team that literally nobody's talked about, Brandon, and I don't even think you've talked about it. I don't think you've thought about it at all, actually. And I think it's worth mentioning Dorian Thompson Robinson, the savior of the Eagles. He, not that they need saved because they just won the Super Bowl, but perhaps the future of the Eagles, Dorian Thompson Robinson, the next GOAT in Philadelphia. I'm telling you, Brandon, do not sleep on this guy. No, in all reality, like I am glad that he went to the Eagles because I want him to have success, and he seems like a really good guy. And I think he could actually be a really decent backup quarterback in
See,
the
I don't
NFL.
even know if he's going to make the team because they're
I
very
hope he
high.
does. I
They're
hope he
very
does.
high on Tanner McKee out of Stanford. He's a really smart
Yeah,
kid. I like him. I wanted
yeah.
him to be the backup last year over Pickett, to be honest with you.
And you know what? You guys also got, I'm just looking at your draft. You guys got
McCord.
somebody, well, of course, I'm thinking of somebody else. Miles Hinton, offensive
Ugh.
tackle from Michigan. How could you forget?
Yeah.
No, I think the Eagles will likely win the division again. By the way,
And I want to hear your thoughts on this. I was listening to sports radio the other day, as one does, National Syndicate, and they were talking about the top five quarterbacks in the NFL, and all of them were AFC quarterbacks. And I was like, hold on, hold the phone. Why is Jalen Hurts? And I thought of you, Brandon. I said, why is Jalen Hurts not considered a top five quarterback in the NFL? Now, I get it in a way. I get it. But this is a guy who's a Super Bowl winner. He has a ton of, like, a decent amount of playoff success just in previous years. What the hell? Why is this guy not looked
By the
at
way, been to the Super
on
Bowl
higher?
twice.
Yeah,
Outplayed Mahomes arguably in the first Super Bowl.
yeah. What's the deal?
Has beat Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and Josh Allen head to head. All
Yeah.
three times they played. Now, do I think he's number five on the West? Yeah. I think Burrow's better. I think Lamar's better. I think Josh Allen's better. And obviously, I think Mahomes is better. But I think Jalen is five. I think that's the list. And then to be honest with you, I don't think there's an argument. I think that's your top five quarterbacks. The order,
I
I think
agree,
you
but
can debate.
nobody mentions him ever.
No,
And I'm like,
some
what
people
is
put him
going on with
outside
this
the top
disrespect?
10. It's it's
Yes,
it's because of the roster and the passing game struggles sometimes and AJ Brown's reading a book on the sideline and whatever. Do you watch every single playoff game the Philadelphia Eagles have had the best 3, 4 years? Has Jalen Hurts had a bad game?
right. I mean, seriously, like, and I just wanted to bring that up because I think it's completely disrespectful to him. And look, you know how many yards Tom Brady had in his first Super Bowl win?
Exactly.
100 and
160 something, I
yeah,
think.
160 or 150. But who do we consider the best quarterback of all time? Tom Brady. And like, he's not even nearly the most talented quarterback of all time, but we still call him the GOAT. But like, yeah, you could, I guess, make an argument that Jalen Hurts isn't as talented as some of these other guys, but he
I,
wins more than
Honestly,
95% of them, except for Mahomes.
I think it's because he was a second round pick, and there's a bias towards it because he's not a first round pick.
I just want you to know, Brandon, I am with you. I am a Jalen Hurts truther. I love Jalen Hurts, and I think people should respect him more. So we can move on from the Eagles, but
Well, Jayden
I'm
Daniels
not happy
scares
about it.
me. He is the next Lamar
Yes.
Jackson. He's very, now the thing is they did win a lot of one score games last year,
Yes.
and a lot of them felt kind of lucky, especially the Chicago one, obviously that sort of catapulted the
Yeah. Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
Um, Now you may not know this. One of the players I hate the most in the entire NFL is Debo Samuel. Can't stand the guy. Couldn't stand him when he was in San Francisco. So now I can't wait to pop his head off twice a year when he's in Washington. Um, Despite that, though, they obviously have a really good team. I was surprised with how well Cliff Kingsbury worked as an OC because he did not work in Arizona at all.
Hmm.
But again, it might be a Chip Kelly situation where he's just a better coordinator in the NFL than a head coach. Who knows?
Yeah.
Um, you know, Dan Quinn's a good coach. I never thought he was the greatest coach in Atlanta, but I thought he was a good coach. He obviously got them to the Super Bowl. There's something about the Commanders that's like they could be really, really good. They could
Yep.
also be like a 9-10 win team and not as good as last year if the ball doesn't bounce their way. I still don't think they upgraded their defense that well, you know. Um, but I think they're undisputably because of that quarterback, the second best team in the division and arguably a top 3, 4-ish team in the conference.
Oh, I agree with that, and especially, and we'll talk about them next probably, but especially with like the whole entire thing going on with the Cowboys and like
Oh,
what the
here's
hell is going on
I'll tell
there.
you already, and this is not my Philly bias because I'm just telling
Yeah,
you, I think the Cowboys are a 5-6 win team.
I I do not disagree with you. I we'll talk about it.
I don't think this division is even close. I think it's a two-team race.
I agree, and I think the Commanders. I don't think the Commanders will have a like. I don't think Jayden Daniels will have a sophomore slump. Like he is so well
I
equipped just on
I
how
don't
he
think
did
he'll have a
last year.
slump, but like, could
Yeah.
it be? I think it's just going to be what? I don't know if it's a slump, but it's not going to be the oh my God numbers
How many
potentially.
wins did they have last year? They had 12, right?
Did they finish with 12?
They have
I
13.
thought it was
Let me look.
11. No, because Philly went 14-3. What, did they go 12-5? I thought it was like
Why
a
will it not
10 and
show
6.
me their stats? It should just show me record on season stats. What the heck's going on here? Why can I not find it?
Hold on.
Well, okay, let's just go with 11. I think they're a 12 or 13 win team this year, and with that being said, like that would mean that the Eagles would win 14 games, and I think they will. Like
That's
I think
interesting
it's
because I have them both at 11-6.
I could see. Well, no, I think the Eagles will win a few more than them. 11 and 6 would be interesting for both, though. That would actually be really interesting. I would
Commanders
love to
did
see
win
that. I
12
would love to
games.
see that.
You were
So
right.
12 games. So maybe they will have a regression in terms of like they'll win 11 games instead of 12. Like I think they'll be hovering around that mark. I wouldn't be surprised if they won 13. I wouldn't be surprised if they won 10. Like
Yeah.
I would be surprised if they won any less than that. But like you brought it up, like not too many additions to even like mention other than I guess
Like
draft picks, but even then,
Worley
like
Tunsil was a good trade that they got from
yeah,
Houston.
sure, absolutely, and there's people that could make the case for me, and I would hear that Debo was a good trade. I don't. I'm not necessarily as big of a hater as you on Debo. I don't think Debo
It's a
has won me
wait
a
and
lot of
see.
games in
The
fantasy
wide
football, but
the wide back thing just drives me nuts. I'm not the biggest like that's why I'm not the biggest fan of Travis Hunter. I'm not the biggest interchangeable guy for me because I
yeah,
think football is hard. I think playing a position is hard. Like offensive line, you can move positions, but like when they're playing running back, receiver, I just think that means you're not that talented, and they're just trying to make you a master of whatever because
that's
you're
fair. No,
close.
I would listen to that argument for sure. So yeah, I mean, there's really not much we have to even talk about with the Commanders other than to answer the question, will they be as good as yes last year? Yes. Okay, so what does that mean though for playoff success? What does that mean though? Could they beat a Philadelphia in the playoffs? Like the answer to that, it remains to be seen. But if I had to answer it gun to my head, no, they couldn't beat the Eagles in the playoffs. So like I think the this team is still a couple years away, and it all lies on the quarterback. A couple years away from being like, okay, I could see them being a perennial Super Bowl team. I just can't say that yet. Can't say that yet. And they were. It was it them in Philadelphia in the
In the NFC
championship game last year?
Championship game. Yes.
Okay. So that's the other thing. Like I wouldn't count their season as a regression if they didn't make the NFC Championship game this year, because I think that's completely unfair to count it as a regression. And then if you go, well, are they going to be better? Assuming they would be better would mean that you're assuming they go to the Super Bowl, and I don't think
Yep.
they go to the Super Bowl this year. So yeah,
I already mentioned I think Dallas is a 5-6 win team. I
yeah,
the Brian Schottenheimer thing, don't think it's gonna work. Now breaking
no.
news this morning, they just gave Jake Ferguson a contract extension. That just came down during the middle of our recording.
You know
It
how
is
much that moved the needle for me?
the
A fucking millimeter. That's how much it moved the needle for me.
yeah.
Like not at all. Like you know what I
Um
mean? We
like
don't have to talk much about the Cowboys or even the
I
Giants
I
much.
think there is a chance the Cowboys finish last if the Giants' defensive line is as good as advertised. Because the thing with the Giants, I could see them winning 2 games. I could see them winning seven. Like I
Yeah,
lean more towards the bottom, but the thing is that defensive line is gonna win them some games. I feel like.
yeah, yeah, sure. And the Giants are like, and same with the Cowboys. You could say the same for both, but they're like those teams that you see them on your schedule, and look, they weren't that great the last couple of years, and you go, oh, that's probably a win, and then you play them, and then they put up 45 points on you, and you're like, what the hell just happened? What did I just miss? So
Yeah,
they're both that way. I don't know if it's because of their division or because they do have talented players. I mean, look, Dak Prescott is a talented quarterback. He's not as good as like I think even he wants to think he is,
yeah.
obviously. But and you know the George Pickens acquisition does absolutely nothing for me.
I agree,
You know
100%.
it does nothing for me. Like let me look at their draft. I mean their draft. I'm looking at it now.
They didn't draft a
I
running back
guess
again.
yeah.
They have Miles Sanders and Devontae Williams are their two running backs.
I mean they've got they did draft Jayden Blue, which I don't even know if he signed. Like a contract with them yet. I don't know. He's out of Texas, I guess. I don't know. They're going to be. I could see them being a 5-win team. I could see them being a bad 7 or 8 win team. With the Giants, I wouldn't give them that high. I would say I could see them being uh, I could see them being a 3-win team. I could see them being a 6-win team. I
Yeah.
don't know so much as what, like you said, as 7 wins. I don't know about that. Yeah, Russell Wilson, what can he do? Will he play the whole year? Will Jameis play? Put Jameis in just for the whole year. Just say screw it. Put Jameis in and just see what happens. No, but we'll see. But those will definitely be the basement and the bottom.
All right, let's get to the NFC West. So a lot of people, I've heard this take over the last couple of weeks that the Rams are sneaky good and there's potential Super Bowl bound team. I think they're good. I don't know if they're Super Bowl bound. Like they probably win the division. I don't know if they're as good as people think they are. I'm kind of not the biggest Matthew Stafford fan. I think he's good. I don't think he's great. A lot of people put him, top five, top six. I don't think he's that. Never thought he was
Yeah,
that,
no.
even in Detroit. Um, I don't know how to feel about the Rams. I think they're kind of a weird team, but I think the whole division's kind of weird now.
Hmm. Yeah, I. This is like we said. Well, no, I don't think like I think you're spot on, 100% correct. They're a weird team. This is a team that I think could win 8 games. I think it could win 11 games. Like it's very strange. I like Matthew Stafford personally. I think Matthew Stafford does not get enough credit, and I think you fall under the boat of don't want to give him very much credit for whatever for your reasons, which I would hear the arguments for, which I'm sure are very valid. I like Matthew Stafford. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's a quarterback capable enough of leading a team to
I
a
guess it's
playoff
just
push. And
weird. When I think of top quarterbacks, I just never think of Stafford. Like that's my reasoning. When I go into the game and I hear, "Oh, I'm facing Matthew Stafford," I'm never scared of him.
yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair. And there's not necessarily a reason to be, but I do think he's still talented. I'm not necessarily super duper high in the Rams. I do like Matthew Stafford. I do think they're a team that could win a decent amount of games. But we'll just have to see what happens. Like I don't even know. Like I'm higher on I'm higher on almost every other team in this division. Um, which is why I would say the Rams would
Yeah.
probably get win about 8 or 9 games and be just
So
concussed.
I think Arizona is going to be one of two things. They're either going to be sneaky good, or they're going to be like a maybe right there in the playoff team, or maybe even a playoff team, or it's going to be the last year of the Kyler Murray era. And I don't think there's really any
Yeah,
in between.
yeah, and I hope that's not the case because I am a Kyler Murray stan, as the kids say. I like Kyler Murray. I
I do
think
too. And I
he's like a good
love
kid, and
and
uh,
Jonathan Gannon is building what he had in Philadelphia. They bring over Josh Sweat from Philly in free agency.
yep,
I loved the first two draft picks. I thought Walter Nolan, the defensive tackle out of Ole
yeah,
Miss, big
yeah.
defensive guy, reminded me of Jordan Davis. Will Johnson, the corner out of Michigan, who I think if he stays healthy was the best corner in this year's draft. So I look at them and I go, Marvin Harrison Jr., who I thought was going to have a
Mhm.
big rookie year, didn't pop off, I should say, as much as I expected him to. But I
What?
think
Yeah, and I
I
don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
But I think he could have a really good year too. I'm not
Yeah,
down. I'm not down on him. I think he's a really good, talented receiver. Like Arizona has the foundation. They have pieces
yeah, I agree. I think they could be like I think they could win this division handily. Like I think that's
handily.
definitely a
Okay,
possibility. Like handily in
interesting.
terms of like, well, maybe that's unfair to say. I think they could win it with like 11 or 12 wins. But again, it all depends on. And I
So
hate to
so
go
I
back to the well. Go ahead.
go ahead.
I
But
hate to
if
go back to the well, but it all depends on Tyler. Like now that may be unfair. I think they got a lot better on defense. Um, like their defensive line especially, I think got a lot better. And I again, I like Tyler a lot. I think he's a lot more talented for. Which, by the way, the whole Marvin Harrison thing, like for Marvin Harrison's rookie year, like for me, a lot of that did fall on Kyler. Like when I would watch those games, or at least watch them back,
it would seem like it was more Kyler than it was Marvin. Maybe it was just that.
Christian, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
There you go. Your AirPod mic like went quiet for a second or something.
Oh, okay. Here, let me put them both back in.
Okay, that
That's
was
okay.
strange.
Can you hear me a little bit better now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll just wrap pretty much up what I was saying. Like the whole Marvin Harrison thing, I think that was mostly on Kyler or just like the playbook or not knowing how to integrate Marvin. I think he's a lot more talented than they even realized maybe last year. So I think you're correct. I think Marvin will have a lot better of a year this year. I think the Cardinals will be a a team that could win. I should have said could win the division handily if things fall into place. Now that's a big if. You've still got San Francisco right there. That any given year it seems like can
Well,
just pop up in the Super Bowl.
let me
So,
ask you. I mean, what
yeah,
are they? Are they Super Bowl contenders? Are they not? Now, I am not the biggest fan of Purdy. I'll throw that out there right now.
yeah, yeah.
I think he is an average quarterback that is carried by a really good roster. Again, yeah, people are trying to make the Purdy and Jalen Hurts argument. I don't think it's the same argument at all. I think talent wise, I see a complete difference
No.
in talent. The way I look at it, maybe it's my personal bias. I
I don't think it's biased, Brandon. Like,
because
go ahead.
I've seen Purdy when he doesn't have a stacked deck. He's not good.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's not biased. Um, which, by the way, if anything, it's biased on my part because I'm an outsider looking at it. Well, I, I, and I said Jalen Hurts is top five quarterback, and I just don't. I can't say that about Brock Purdy. Is he top? Excuse me. Is he top 15? Yeah, I can hear that argument, but to get the contract he did, wow. I mean, that's a big contract for a guy like that who, like you said, when things aren't going their way or when he doesn't have the pieces he needs, it could look a little rough. Um, I don't think the 49ers are necessarily, especially from what we've seen um, from them last year. I don't think there's a reason to go. Yep, they're a Super Bowl team. They're going to be the random NFC team that pops in the Super Bowl this year. No, I don't think that's the case. I don't think they could beat a team like Philadelphia. We'll just keep going back to them in the playoffs. So I don't think they'll be a bottom feeder of the NFC or of this division. Um, but I don't think they're going to be a team that eclipses 9, 10 wins. I just don't see it this year.
And then what do you make of Seattle? Because I thought the move going from Geno to Darnold was strange,
Yeah,
but I like Jalen Milrow for the record. I think under the right coaching,
yeah.
he could be good. They brought in Quinn Kubiak, who was with the Saints last year. We know the Kubiak tree, but I don't know what they are. They're kind of like the Colts to me. They're the NFC's Colts, where it's like they
Yeah.
got some pieces. I don't know what they're building. It's like they're probably 7, 8. Like they're the definition of an 8-win team.
No, and that's absolutely it.
and they're almost like they're in a weird purgatory spot where like being an 8-win team is actually detrimental to their future at this point because you're banking a lot on Jalen Milrow being good if you want to be a perennial 8-win team for the next 2 years with
Yep.
Sam Darnold at the helm. Like you're banking a lot on that, and because you're not going to get a good quarterback at the end of the first round probably over the next couple of years, at least from what I see from the college ranks and quarterbacks right now. So you want Jalen Miller to be good. I think he will be good. I I was, and you know this, I was a lot higher on Milrow than a lot of people were
Yeah.
coming out of college. I think he'll be a good quarterback in the NFL. I'm actually really excited for whenever he gets his chance, which I don't think there's any reason for that to be this year because obviously you've got Sam Darnold there, but you've also got Drew Lock there, and I think Drew Lock is like a decent backup option. So it's almost like there's really no reason to play Milrow unless it's like break this in case of emergency type of situation. But yeah, that team is just super weird. I don't know what the heck to even say about them other than Sam Darnold led a team that most people thought would be in the basement last year to 14 wins. So Could it happen
I,
again with the
I thought a
Seahawks this
lot of
year?
that had to do with he had an offensive coach, he had great weapons and a
Right.
great line, and I don't
Right.
see that in
I
Seattle.
don't. That's
I
exactly.
I think
That's
it's
really
a
not
I
here.
think it's a way worse situation. I think he goes from an offensive coach to a defensive coach. I
Yeah. No, you're right.
I don't see it.
We'll see what
So
happens. Yeah.
so I'm gonna ask you. I think the NFC North, along with the AFC West and the AFC North, like those are the three best divisions in football. The
Yeah.
NFC North to me is so fascinating. I'm just gonna ask you, I think, in a nutshell about the division, and
Yeah.
we can go through each team because we know the Lions roster is really good, but there
Yep.
is the part of like Ben Johnson's not there,
Of
Aaron
course.
Glenn's not there. They have made the
Yep.
NFC Championship game 2 years ago. They lost the divisional round, a year ago. Is there some emotional, devastating impact? Chicago, do they finally get over the hump? Green Bay, I think, has a good roster. I think their schedule is very favorable, where I could see
Yeah.
them winning this division. And then the reports out of JJ McCarthy out of Minnesota, from what I'm hearing in camp, again, aren't the best. But
They're
also,
horrible.
but
From what I've heard.
also, I'm like,
Yeah.
he's got Kevin O'Connell, he's got Jefferson, he's got Addison, he's got Ogdenson.
Hmm.
Like, if it doesn't work there, he can't play in this league.
Yep.
I
Yep.
don't know.
I agree. This is such an interesting division for me, and I'm so excited to see how it turns out. Um, because actually, this is like a funny thing that I've done the last few years, but I think the Packers are like so close yet so far away from a Super Bowl. It's like it's the weirdest team because they should win 13, 14 games this year and they should be a Super Bowl favorite, but also it's the Packers and they probably won't. Like they probably will
Yeah.
fizzle out or win 9 games or whatever the heck. Like it's so weird. And I've actually the last 2 years put just like a $1 bet on the Packers to win the Super Bowl. I'm going to do it again this year. We'll see what happens. It's not going to happen.
well, you may like this and what I tell you because I'm
Yeah,
flirting with based off the schedule. Man,
that's what I'm
I'm t
saying.
I'm tempting with they might have a chance to get the number one seed in the NFC.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's that. So I think they'll win this division. But at the same time, if like I'm high on JJ McCarthy, I like to make fun of him because he's from Michigan, whatever. But I actually like him a lot
No,
as a quarterback.
I like them, but everything I'm hearing
Yeah,
on again, we talked about earlier how much this can't matter, and we can disagree on that. But when you're
yeah,
constantly hearing reports of Justin Jefferson saying, "Oh, it's going to take time," and every beat reporter saying,
yeah,
it hasn't been great," it's like
yeah,
with this coach, with this offense, and Sam Darnold won 14 games. It's like
yeah.
if he doesn't work right away, Minnesota's got a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's why I could see, I could see that Green Bay, I think, will win the division, and I think Detroit will have a slight downturn. Just to give it to you in a nutshell, I think they'll have a slightly less good year, but they're still a playoff team. Don't get me wrong about Detroit. They'll have a slightly less good year. I think the Packers will be just a bit better than them. And with all that being said, I mean, then you've got the Bears and Caleb Williams. I think Jayden Daniels overshadowed obviously Caleb Williams. I think Caleb Williams can still be good. I think he could be a decently like on the cusp of
Yeah.
being really
I
good
think
and
there's a
just being
chance all
good.
three of them make. I think there's a chance 3 out of 4 teams in this division make the playoffs.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And but that's what's so funny about it is it's so interchangeable. Is it the
And
Bears? Is it the
and
Vikings?
what's the order? Yeah, but
Right.
if I had to make a guess, and this is gonna Vikings fans are gonna hate me for it, but I think if I had to make a guess, the team that's likely to finish last is Minnesota.
I agree. I agree. And I could see it being a very like the Bears get 8 or 9 wins, the Lions are at 11 or
No,
12 wins,
I
and the
kind of feel
Packers
like
are at
it's like
13 or 14.
11-10-9 or like 11-10-10 or 10-9-9,
Yeah, I could
where
see it.
everybody's just stacked. And then you got Minnesota like kind of distant at like 7 or 8.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's
Well,
get to the division I think we're both avoiding talking about.
you know, I think Tampa's gonna win it. You know,
Yeah.
I like Penix, but I don't know about the rest of Atlanta's roster, and we'll see how he does year two. Could Atlanta come out of nowhere? Maybe. I don't
You
see it,
know,
but there's a chance. I do like what Carolina's done with Bryce Young. I'm not
mhm.
out on Bryce Young yet, contrary to a lot of people. The Saints, I don't know
I,
what they're doing. I think the Saints are
I
gonna be the worst team in the NFL this year, but
I do too. I just bought 100,000 shares in Carolina stock, and I'll tell you why, dude. And obviously that's a joke, but I love Bryce Young. I
love. Okay,
absolutely
that's a
love him,
strong
dude.
word.
I love him. I love what I saw from him last year. Here's why I love him, and it goes back to something I said earlier. Beginning of last year, horrid, abysmal, one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL.
Literally looked like he didn't belong in the NFL.
Yes, yes. Gets benched for the Red Rocket, right? That was Andy Dalton who got benched for.
Yes, and
Gets benched. Go
so
ahead.
go on, finish your story, and then I have something to
Yeah,
tell you.
gets benched, comes back. I think balls out to the point where statistically he was in the top, I think 15 or 10 to finish the year last
I
year.
think you make a case he was easily a top 10 quarterback the last half of the year.
Yes, and with all of that, Brandon, it all goes back to the mentally tough thing in quarterbacks. That dude showed he is one of, if not last year, the most mentally tough quarterback in the NFL, especially last year. I loved that from him, and that's why I love him because he came back from the bottom, from the barrel, from
I mean,
one
he
bad game.
literally could not complete a pass to,
Right,
oh
one
my
bad game
God,
away from being out
to,
of
oh my,
probably
he should
yeah
have beat Kansas City and Philadelphia back to back. And I,
Yes, yeah,
and I said
absolutely,
it, and people called me crazy for it. The quarterback that played the best against the Eagles last year, and I remind you, we played Joe Burrow, we played Lamar Jackson, we played Jayden
yeah,
Daniels. I think the guy that gave us the toughest game was Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. If you remember, he has Leggett
yeah,
in the back of the end zone in Philly. This was when Philly was on their roll.
yeah.
We had won 11 out of 12 games, whatever it was. He has Leggett in the back of the end zone. If he just catches it with his hands, we probably lose that game.
Yep. Yep. So let me just tell you. Um, first game. Yeah, oh my God, dude. These stats are so bad. Okay.
It was like 40 to
161,
nothing against the
84,
Saints or
58,
whatever.
-4. He had -4 yards one game. Now he only threw two passes, to be fair, but -4. His second game of the year, threw 26 passes, only completed 84 yards. And then to finish off the year, I mean, just just amazing stats. You're right. Should have won against Kansas City. Should have beat Tampa Bay. That was an overtime
That
game.
was an
Should
overtime
have
game.
beat
Yep.
Philadelphia. So it's I now look, the Panthers are still a far they're a long way away. But do I think they have a quarterback? Yeah, I do. I think Bryce Young absolutely could be the quarterback of the future for the Panthers, and I hope he is. I'm rooting for him. So we'll move on from them. The Falcons, Penix, I think the Falcons could be a surprise team. They're still in my opinion, a decent team.
They're still hyping
Um,
Kyle Pitts.
yeah, that's the other thing about it. I mean, will how many people? What I'm interested to see the average, round that folks draft him in this year's
Oh, I
draft. Will
got
it be
fooled
high
last
again
year
or?
because I
Yeah,
drafted him, if
dude.
you remember, and
Yeah,
well, because they had Cousins, and I was like, oh my God, Cousins loves tight ends. He threw to Hockenson
yeah,
all the time in Minnesota. They're going to run the same offense. This is going to be the year for Kyle Pitts. I even said it in our group chat. I'm like, no, I think this is actually going to be the year. And then,
yeah. I agree.
Kirk Cousins didn't throw to him at all.
I agree. And we'll move on from the Saints. The Saints
Yeah,
suck. They're going to probably be the worst team in the NFL. They don't have a
anything.
quarterback
They
unless they
don't
want to
have
play.
anything.
Yeah, they'll
Uh,
play Tyler Shue all year, I guess. Like I don't
if,
literally who the
if,
are they going to play?
even though, like Olave, I like, he's a nice player. He's not a wide receiver
Yeah,
one, and he's probably a two. Kamara's old. Like,
yeah.
what else do they have? Nothing.
I do like Kamara. Kamara's he's got a soft spot. I've got a soft spot
Okay,
for him.
that's fair.
I do like Kamara just because fantasy wise, he seems to always be like a
I,
constant like
I'm
fantasy player.
jealous personally because like I'm rooting for Kellen Moore. Hope he has great success. I wanted him to stay in
Sure.
Philly. I'm kind of pissed
Yeah,
off that he took that job instead
I
of
know.
waiting a year. Like I get
That
it.
seems
It's
like a thing.
probably his only shot to be a head coach. Like take it. I get it. I guess.
Yeah, that seems like a thing. He could be there for a year or two and then find his way back in Philly.
Yeah.
Years. Like, and then going on to the Buccaneers, I'm very high on them. Like
I mean, very high in terms of like I think they can win 10 or 11 games this year. I
Baker. I think just found his home there. Clearly, I really like what they did with their draft. Obviously, Ibuka. I'm excited to
Yep.
see what he can do. And they even got like I'm looking now, even their second and third round picks, both corners, both good corners that were, pretty highly ranked, Benjamin
Yep.
Morrison and Jacob Parrish. So I like them a lot. I don't know if they're like a Super Bowl caliber team, but I think they could be a problem in the playoffs, and you never know what could happen from there. So
All right, well, we have just gone through all 32 teams in the National Football League, but before we wrap up, I'm going to ask you a couple off the field questions as we
all right,
sort of dive into the NFL offseason talk, if you will.
sure.
So, um, the kickoff's been so heavily scrutinized, obviously. The player safety thing, which I have never believed it's as dangerous as they say it is, but apparently there's data to back it up. So what do I
right.
know? Um, but this old thing of moving the ball back to the 35-yard line, I don't like it. I would have preferred them to actually move the kicker back. That was my solution. Keep the
Yeah,
touchback at the 30, but move the kicker back to get more returns. What
yeah.
what what is now every kick going to be? A squib kick?
Which, by the way, we saw that a lot last year. If you remember, a lot of like the kickers would
It,
just
it
like,
depended on the team. Some teams just
yeah,
booted it out of the end zone and didn't care.
yeah,
And like Dallas, I thought actually did the best job of it that I've seen was they would squib kick it towards the corner and
yeah.
basically force you to pick it up, and then they'd make the tackle, and you'd be down to like the 10-yard line.
Right, exactly. So it depends. I'm not like that. Like, look, um, yeah, kickoff returns are dynamic and they can change the complexity of the game and what happens and momentum and all this stuff. But um, meh, that's just kind of how I feel about it. Meh. I'm not like even like the president got involved and was talking about why the kickoff sucks now. Like I'm like not that. I think it's like a huge traditionalist thing that I don't really even like. I
I,
don't mind. I
yeah,
don't mind it. I don't mind it. I don't mind.
I would prefer if they just went back and did it the old way, like how they do it in every other sport now, like high school, college, like middle school. Like
That makes sense to me. Just do it there, do it how they're doing it. But again, it's the NFL. They want to keep things safe. They want to show that they're making an effort to keep it safe. And I'm sure there's a reason they have to do that. And they're making more
I
of an emphasis on it. But nah,
I
that's like a
do
big
think
nah
they
to me.
need to eliminate the onside kick. I've been saying it for years. I don't think there's any chance
Yeah,
anymore because like
yeah,
you don't even get a chance to recover it. It's like basically you got no hope. I would prefer if they gave because I know the Eagles are the ones that have actually proposed this for years. Is you get a 4th and 15
yeah,
at your own 35. It's difficult, but it's not impossible. It's basically the same chances as an old onside kick.
yeah, absolutely. Which actually, it would probably be a higher percent chance of getting it. Which, if that's the case, I think that's good. I think
Yeah.
that's fun. I think it's fun if you want to bring more fun stuff into that. Like people got so mad when the MLB did the ghost run on second and whatever, and I think there's still a lot of people that are mad about that. About that. You know what? I think it's fun, man. I think it adds another layer to the game that makes it more exciting, and that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, it's a kids' game that should be about excitement. There should be high scoring games. So let's just do it. Let's just do that. Like,
That's a good
and
point.
so I think that's a good thing to do. And if nothing else, if you don't want to do that, go back to the old kickoff, or frankly, get rid of it altogether and just have every team start at the point. Like You know what I mean? Like if you really want to do it like that.
Speaking
So
of player safety, we all know the NFL does not like my favorite play, the brotherly shove.
yeah, yeah.
They're gonna. I know they're gonna get rid of it. It's gonna happen probably next year. But I'm sorry, say I'm an Eagles fan, whatever. There is no statistical evidence that this play is hurting anybody. And they're, oh my God, it's gonna hurt somebody one day, and then you're gonna see. Like, no. Like
It's
the Bills run it and they got stopped on it. The Giants ran it, they got two offensive linemen injured on it somehow. I don't
yeah,
know. Like
yeah.
the play works because we have a quarterback who literally bench presses 600 pounds.
Yeah, it should be a team by team thing. And you know what? If those other teams did it and it was successful for them, guess what people wouldn't be talking about? Banning. Okay.
Yep,
The
yep.
only reason people want to ban it is because it only works for one team and the team does it goddamn well. And it pisses everybody off. Um so that's my only thing about it. I think it's complete BS that it's about safety. They want to use that as an excuse. Okay, that's fine. I get it. Safety is important, obviously, especially in this sport where you're basically getting in minor car accidents every time you get tackled. But I think it's BS. Like you said, I don't see the data that backs up why it hurts people. Just because other teams try it and their team gets hurt, they're doing it wrong. Like, I don't know what else to say. They're doing it wrong. They're not doing it right, clearly. So, long story short, keep it in. There's going to be a vote about it probably every year until it's banned, which is unfortunate. Um, and I think it's probably true that the Eagles don't get it every time. Like,
No,
it's
it's like
not
88%.
100%. Yeah,
And
so it's like even
and
they
it
don't get
wasn't
it every time.
100%
So
last year. Now, 2 years ago was automatic, and Kelsey, I think, had a lot to do with it. Obviously, Jurgen's a
yeah,
different player.
sure, yeah,
But it's still 88%. It's not 100%. Now, if it's 3rd and 2, we can run it 2 times and get a
yeah,
first down, you know.
yeah,
But like
yeah,
you said, it's not
exactly.
automatic. Okay, final question for you. I know it's coming down the pike. A lot of people don't want it. They think it's gonna lead to more injuries and all this. I think the 18 game schedule is actually going to be good for the league. I don't like 17. I think 17 games is weird. I think an odd number of games is weird. I
Yeah,
like having 500 as a baseline personally, just to say, we're average. I think the 2 bye weeks is going to be good. And I think the fact
yeah,
that we get the Super Bowl on President's Day weekend, why not?
yeah, yeah. No, I agree. They want to make it, the day after the Super Bowl a national holiday anyway. We'll just do it on a weekend where there's a holiday on that Monday,
Yes.
and then we're good. You know what I mean? Or I've always been of the thought of, this is all about the Super Bowl now, but I've always been the thought of why not just put the Super Bowl on a Saturday? That way everyone is Sunday.
Yeah, I think
If you want to do
that
that.
they're
So
so traditionalist, they won't do
I
it.
know, I know, I know. So when it comes to the 18 game thing, look, I was against the 17 game schedule for pretty much every reason you just lined out. We still only have one bye week. I want like at least we should have two, and it's unfortunate that that's not the case right now. But with the 18 game, you would have the second one. I think if you go 18, you should and I hate to say this, but you should probably completely eliminate another game from the preseason, which they
Oh,
would like to
it's
do.
gonna go down to two, and I would be in favor of completely eliminating it because most of these guys just I mean, we saw it in 2020, right? We didn't need preseason. Nobody missed it. Like the only person that's gonna be
Yeah,
watching preseason games this year are the people located in Cleveland, Ohio, to see which
yeah,
quarterback
seriously,
battle. I mean, like I said, there
seriously.
is one interesting team in the preseason this year, and it's because they have a legitimate quarterback battle.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. So otherwise, though, it's like there's really never much interest for the preseason anyway, and that can create injuries. So I say get rid of it completely. I say just go to 18 because that's where it's going to go. Now, anything above 18 is going to be that's going to have a serious.
There's
We're going to
no
have a
way.
serious
I
conversation
don't
about
see
that.
it.
I don't see it either, but I would actually see it being more likely that they go down
in the future, then they go up after 18. But we'll just have to see what happens. So yeah, I like it. It's inevitable. It's going to happen, but it isn't right now. We've got the 17 game schedule still, and we'll have to see what happens from there.
Christian, a lot of fun today, buddy. Thank you so much. This
I
has
do.
been the state of the NFL as we wrap up the state of the sports over the summer. Thank you so much, Christian. And when we come back on Thursday, folks, you already know it is SummerSlam weekend here on Brandon's World. So we will preview night one of the two-night biggest party of the summer. Thank you again so much to Christian and as he's dropping the elbow
Right.
like the late great Macho Man Randy Savage. Obviously, Hulk Hogan also passed away this past week. We will honor him as well as we preview SummerSlam. That'll be on Thursday. We'll see you guys next time. And peace.